Okay, two main areas of focus in a good gesture drawing. One, line of action. This is the main line that runs through the body and dictates the flow of the form. And two, weight distribution and balance. These go together because they go hand in hand with the line of action to give the form a sense of authenticity. Other part. If there were a third principle to focus on, it would be those of torsion and tension, the dynamics created when the body twists, stretches, compresses, pushes, and pulls. This principle might not be paramount in all drawing disciplines, but if you want to engage in visual storytelling, it is a must. Now, I know I've just read these things straight off, but I think these things, I'm going to go over them. You're going to see these over and over again as I start doing all of these gesture drawings. And I wanted to get these right out of the way. I wanted to have them on the screen so you could see them over and over again. You could pause on them, write them down if you wanted to. So, here we go. If you want to draw gesture drawings and you don't have a class you can go to where you can draw live figures in front of you at any given time, that doesn't mean that you're shit out of luck. There are ways to try and come as close to that as possible. You can get friends or family members to pose. You can get fellow artists to pose for you. Most anybody can do pretty simple poses for 2 minutes without getting too uncomfortable. When I was in art school decades and decades and decades ago, it seems like it was 20 years ago or more, actually. Geez, quite a bit more. No. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Geez. Almost 30 years ago, I graduated. It'll be 30 years ago this May that I graduated from college. Oh, holy crap buckets. Anyway, some of our drawing instructors would actually have our fellow students do 2 minute poses sometimes, not naked. We'd keep our clothes on and stuff, but it was good to sometimes have the students do what the models do sometimes. Not just to have appreciation for what the models do, but to give us as artists the chance to draw a good variety of different body makes in one day, in one sitting. You'd see all kinds of different types of bodies and stuff. But if you can't do that, if you can't, or you're too shy to get real people in front of you to pose and do 2 minute drawings, you can use photographs. And with today's internet, the photographs available to you on the internet are endless. I mean endless. For this exercise, with a couple of days, a couple of different 1 hour or so jaunts on Pinterest, I put together 6 months worth. If I considered doing one gesture drawing a day, I put together 6 months worth of reference poses to do. Uh, and I was barely getting started. I mean, I could have put together a year's worth in another day or two, so easily. And you can just stream from one idea to the next, and Pinterest will suggest things that help lead you stream of conscious from one idea to the next. I'll get more into that actually, as we go through the different poses, you'll see as we go through the different poses from one idea to the next, the kind of thing that I'm talking about. I'm going to start the first 2 minute pose that I'm going to do is actually an example of what not to do. This is the kind of pose typically that I would want you to actually not use. And the reason for that is that it cuts off. It cuts off at the legs. Look at this. Look, where's his little feetsies? And the reason why this is so terrible is because it plays into one of the key concepts that I just read about, which is balance. You know, when you get your line of action, the main line of action comes. It's going to come. I'll erase this, but your main line of action is going to come from, you know, it's going to run. It's not always going to run right down the middle of the torso, but I usually like to have it run down the middle of the torso, and so there's a slight curve here. But you know, and so your torso is where everything starts, right? And then so this is where the bulk of your weight is, and then everything comes off the torso, and so your legs are going to tell you whether or not the torso is in balance or out of balance. You know, if your legs are planted correctly underneath you, then yeah, the torso is in balance, and if it's not, then it's not. And so those legs are really important, and the fact that they're not there is a bit of a problem. Let's see here. I'll go to my regular pencil. So really, I would like you to generally use whole figures if at all possible. So anyway, so I'm starting with a bad example. But anyway, I'm gonna start my clock. I got my phone here next to me. I've set my the clock on my little alarm clock or whatever on my phone to 2 minutes. There, so I just hit the button, and so now I have 2 minutes to do my best. And I haven't done this in a while. I haven't done this in years, to be honest with you. So, you know, this might look horrible. And when I did do this a lot more often, and especially when I figure drawing classes, I was doing this on giant 18 by 24 pieces of paper, not a little iPad. I mean, it's an iPad Pro, so it's big as far as iPads go, but it's still tiny compared to you know, big pads of paper. .28 seconds left. Boy, oh boy. There it is. That's 2 minutes. Cancel. Okay. So 2 minutes, and I got not much. I'm not used to this. I'm out of practice. I'm out of practice big time. So I'm not used to getting a lot done in a short amount of time, you know. But you'll see that in 2 minutes, my goal is to get the basic. I'm not working on individual muscles nearly as much as I am working on the basic shape. Uh, the basic shape and form of the character. I'm working on where the body is leaning, um, the angle at which lines are coming out, the angle at which so like the line of the forearm over here, which you can't really see my blue pencil over here, but the line of the angle of the line of the forearm, where it is over the bicep, right? Angle of the upper arm, same deal, which I didn't really get. The angle of the lower arm here is more like this, and then it curves dramatically upward like this. So I really botched that, and then this coming out actually comes out. It doesn't go down as far. See, so I really screwed that up, kind of. And then if you have more time, you can kind of get more into and this I think should be shorter. And then it's hard to move it around. I lose stuff. So I think let's get back to the pencil. So I think this should be in. Yeah. So that might have been where it's supposed to be, but was a little off there. Yep. So now I'm turning this almost into more of a like 5 minute pose, because now I'm going in and from the basic shape I'm refining it a little more, taking a little more of a deep dive into the material. I think I'm enhancing this guy's shoulders just a little bit. One of my friends is calling. So I'll go into more detail on this later, and then we'll go on to the next one.